Oh man, look at this. This is Fettuccine Alfredo. Wait till you try this dish. You're going to be blown away. It's so simple and unbelievably tasty. Hello! Welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode of Texas Cooking Today, we have something special for you. I have a guest chef with me. His name is Chris Schmidt, and he's going to come in and show you how to make an Alfredo sauce the same way that his father taught him when he was younger. But first, what we're going to do is go over all of the ingredients that we're going to use to make the pasta. I'm going to teach you how to make your own fettuccine, how to cut it with a knife if you don't have a fettuccine cutter, and I'll tell you what, it's not that hard to do, okay? And I can teach you a couple of different methods of making a smooth fettuccine noodle. Also, you're going to see how to make your Alfredo sauce fresh, with some fresh Parmesan Reggiano, okay? So, come up a little closer, we'll take a look at our ingredients now. Alright, on our ingredients, so you'll know, the first thing that we're going to be making is going to be a pasta, and it's going to be a very simple pasta. I have here 1/2 of a cup of bread flour. Now this is a high protein flour. The extra gluten is nice because it makes for a really strong noodle. It's a noodle that won't tear easily. Also, I have here some durum wheat semolina. This is what most pasta is made from. It has the consistency less like flour and more like a real fine grain cornmeal. So it's kind of granular. But this is what really makes the best pasta of all. A couple of eggs, we have some salt and olive oil, and that's what's going to be used to make our pasta. The Alfredo sauce is going to be produced with a wonderful block of Parmesan, and I have some shredded here. We also have some nice whipping cream here. This is a heavy cream, butter, some garlic, and over the top we're going to use just a little bit of this lovely basil here. So once we're all finished, we're going to have a lovely dish for you, and it's definitely worth trying. One other thing that you're going to want is to go ahead and break open some wine, because it's just great to have something like that when you're cooking. Remember, in the kitchen, relax and have a good time. Well, now that we've seen our ingredients, it's time for you to meet your guest chef. Chris, if you would come on in. This is Chef Chris Schmidt. Chris?
Hello, how are you?
He's going to be making our Alfredo sauce for us, and he's got a little background on this. When did you first start making Alfredo sauce, Chris?
When I was about 15 years old.
I think that's one of the reasons I chose you for this.
The first sausage I ever made. And simple.
And you make this at home or
I made it at my dad's restaurant.
Okay, so this was actually on the job training.
Learning on the job.
Okay, cool.
On the fly.
Professional chef way of making Alfredo sauce. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to learn how to make some pasta. I'm going to teach you how to do that. I want to teach you how to cut a good noodle, even if you don't have a fettuccine maker. So let's go over this way to where we make our pasta. The first thing that we need to do in order to make a fettuccine Alfredo is, of course, to have a fettuccine noodle. And on this show, we're going to show you how to make fresh fettuccine. Now, to do that, of course, you have to make fresh pasta. Now, if you go to the store and you purchase pasta, it's going to be made out of this stuff right here. If you look at the labels on your pasta, they all say made of 100% durum wheat semolina, and that's what this stuff is right here. It's great for making a wonderful pasta. However, it produces, if it's used by itself, it produces a pasta that if you're not used to using it, it feels kind of unusual and it will break easy. Where if we make a pasta that's partial flour and semolina, you'll get a pasta that has a little bit better integrity and a little more elasticity to it, and it makes it a really nice pasta that's easy to work with. So that's what we're going to do. And the first thing I'm going to do, this is often done on a breadboard, but I want to do it in a bowl, and I'm going to put in both my flour, my semolina, and I'm going to make a well right in the middle of it. Now, there's a reason that you make a well in the middle of it, whether you do it on a board or in a bowl. The purpose behind the well is for you to A, beat the eggs, and it's often done with a fork or a small whisk, and then B, so that you can gently and slowly incorporate the flour into, whether you're using egg or water, into that, and that way you don't have to worry about getting the lumps that you might have otherwise. So let's go ahead, we're going to drop our eggs right into this. Now if you would like, crack your eggs into a separate bowl if you're worried about getting any kind of shell in there, and that way you don't have to worry about any of that problem. And look right there, I have a little shell right there on that yolk. Let me pick him out. There we go. Now, down in our pasta, all I need to do now is to combine these ingredients. What I'm going to use is just a basic everyday fork. Take your fork, break each of those yolks, and just go to scrambling this. Now, a couple of other items that you might want to add to this. Let's go ahead and throw in a pinch of salt, some olive oil, and I want to put in about a tablespoon to 2. Continue beating. And as I'm beating, I'm rotating this and pulling flour and semolina into the mixture at the same time. Go. Mix that together. Now this has sort of a granular feel to it, and that's from the semolina, and that's normal. Don't worry about that. As the moisture breaks it down, it will soften that. And that's another reason you want to let it set. And if you'll notice, I'm just sitting there folding this, rolling it, pushing down with my knuckles, just like that. Fold it, push. And all I have to do is just get it thoroughly combined, which it is. And now, I can put this in a plastic bag. I have here a simple Ziploc bag. I'm going to take this, just drop it down into it. You do not need to refrigerate this, okay? You can leave it out at room temperature. Yes, I know everybody's worried about leaving eggs at room temperature. For pasta, don't worry about it because you're going to be cooking the pasta later, right? It's going to be fine. Now, just let that set up. Remember, about 30 to 45 minutes. All right, now that we've had a little bit of resting time on our pasta, we're going to go ahead and remove it from the bag that we placed it in earlier. Now, if I want, I could roll this whole thing out, and it's going to make a really large sheet. It'll make about a 2.5 foot diameter sheet. So what I want to do is get this into a little more usable portions, and I'm just going to cut it a couple of times to quarter it. There we go. And this gets it into a little more usable sized portion. Now let's get some flour on our board. And we'll roll this into a little more of a ball. Just start mashing it into a little pancake. There we go. Now, if you're going to be working with pasta, you do not have to have a set of pasta rollers. A simple rolling pin will work fine, and frankly, it'll work a lot faster with a rolling pin. Alright? So don't be afraid to go right at it this way. Now, pasta has a real bad tendency to shrink up when you roll it out, and this is the reason we like to let it rest. If I did not let this rest, I would be fighting this the whole way right now. Now, you can see on the video, it's quite clear now, very clearly defined stripes with my cutting board. And I have a very thin pasta here. It's quite dry, it's elastic, it's easy to work with. Now, if I want to make fettuccine out of this, and I just want it to be simple raw noodle, what I want to do, I want to do a pretty job about it. I'll cut the top and bottom edges off, just like so. That simple. And then I'll roll it. You can roll it from the bottom up or otherwise. Now, here's a neat little trick. When you're going to cut noodles like this, leave a portion of the pasta sitting unrolled, just like so. Take your knife and make a simple cross cut, just like this. What I'm doing is making a simple cut at about 1/4 inch or slightly less intervals, alright? And the importance of doing it this way, let me cut off one little tab, and you can see how this works. See how I can unroll those noodles real simple this way? And then all I have to do, cut off the top portion, and I have my fettuccine right there, ready to go. That's all it takes to make fettuccine noodles, folks. It's really, really simple. So I'm going to sit here and finish cutting all of these out. Just keep right on. There we go. Nothing more to it than that. Fettuccine, easy to do, with a simple rolling pin and a knife. So don't be afraid of going at raw pasta this way. Don't even begin to hesitate, because you're going to find it a lot faster and a lot easier to produce a good portion of fettuccine this way than a lot of people suspected it's going to be. If you notice, that took me just moments to produce. Alright, we have finished making our pasta, and I went ahead and did this pasta, and Chris went ahead and did this pasta over here, and that way he could get a little practice in on the pasta as well. And so we've got plenty ready to go in our water. Now I have good boiling water here. You want to salt your water, and you need some salt in this because the salt, this is one of the ways the pasta gets the salt cooked into it. It adds a lot of flavor to it. It also will bring the temperature of that water up slightly when you first put it in, but only by a couple of degrees. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the pasta down in this water, and this is only going to take about 3 to 4 minutes to cook. So while that's doing its thing, and I want to stir it lightly with a fork occasionally, Chris is going to be over here taking care of showing you how to make Alfredo sauce. Chris, have at it.
Alright, this is a very simple thing. Take your garlic clove, crush it with the side of your knife, remove the skin, dice it, or mince it, how you want to say it. Garlic. Need low heat for this, probably. Medium at most.
Medium heat. Good.
About a tablespoon of butter. Now I'm going to add the garlic.
Cool.
A little bit of salt, if you will.
Salt.
So you salt it a little bit just to get the garlic to sweat. Add your cream and thicken it with Parmesan cheese, which we shredded earlier. Chewy.
But a good flavor. Nothing like homemade pasta. Oh God, that tastes so good.
I'm gonna add my cheese. And by the time this sauce is done, the noodles should be.
Now, I want to show y'all. Sometimes if you don't want to throw your pasta water out, but you want to keep reusing it for multiple batches or something like that, you can do that real easy just by having a second pot handy. Put your colander right up in it. That's all you have to do. You can simply rotate your pasta pot this way really easy. Now, here's my pasta. Really nice. If I want to pre-dress this with some olive oil, like if I was going to leave it sitting around for a bit, that would be fine. But we're going to go right on to a plate with it. And there we have it ready. There we have it ready. Little mistake there. For our sauce, go ahead, Chris. My God, that's just naughty. It really is. Alright, Chris is going to show us his technique on doing a chiffonade now. You've seen mine, you get to see his now.
What I usually do is take fresh basil, ball the large leaves, and if you know how to cut, just
That's excellent. Good plan.
Now we'll just put it over this, like so.
There we have it. Beautiful. Well, that didn't take a whole lot at all, Chris. And I'll tell you what, that looks really, really good. Tell you what, me, I want to taste a little of this. We got to find out just how freaky good this is.
Just to make sure it's good.
Have at it, man. Have at it. Oh, God in heaven.
Oh, good. Sorry.
Nothing on earth should taste this good, alright? Give this a try. You're going to be blown away by this recipe. And do me a favor, please subscribe. Texas Cooking Today. And y'all, thank you for watching. Man, I'll tell you, it was great.
That's pretty good.
I'm just digging and eat forever on this. Thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today, the show where you can get great recipes and the best techniques are taught. Please subscribe to Texas Cooking Today, where you will always find something hot and ready to eat.